All right. We hear another episode of No Lion, No Bull. I have my guest today is Miss Wendy Cunningham Barnes, which is my good friend and also my neighbor. Can you introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
I sure can. I'm Wendy Cunningham Barnes, as you just said. I am a wife, a mom, a philanthropist, a speaker, and author, founder of the You Belong Foundation. And what we do is we champion people in the special needs community. We champion them by bringing awareness to those who haven't had the blessing of being around with someone with a disability, but also to create a community within the group so that people don't feel like they're alone. I do a lot of things, but that's a good little.
That's a good little summary of it.
Yeah, that's a good summary.
I dig it. What is something most people don't know about you?
Most people don't know that I was actually afraid of being a mom.
Yeah?
Yes, I was terrified of being a mom, but the biggest blessing, very happy I made the decision to be a mom. 3 children, 2 of my children are special needs. My daughter's in heaven. Mm-hmm. And she is my biggest source, the wind beneath my wings that makes me do everything I do. But yeah, terrified of becoming a mom. I didn't know if I would be good at it.
And I always say that's been the biggest challenge,
Yeah.
is being a parent and getting it right.
It's a hard job.
I know. Kudos to you on that. You've done a
Thank
great
you.
job. If you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Just 3, huh?
Yep, just 3.
Purposeful.
Okay.
Resilient.
Okay.
Let's see, 3 words. Purposeful, resilient, and my whole brain just shut down. What's the 3 words, Wendy? Resilient, purposeful, intelligent.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree. I definitely agree. Just also your energy is just always high. Whenever I see you, so you just like a ray of sunshine. Whenever I see you, it's never a dull moment. So
thank you. That's a good compliment. I receive it.
Background and journey. How did you get started in the industry and / career that you chose to follow?
I didn't choose it.
It chose you.
It chose me. My daughter, Paige, was born healthy. Mm-hmm. And at 13 months, she contracted meningitis.
Okay.
Which, in a short description, it devastated her brain and left her forever disabled. And so I found myself, I had to become her advocate. I had to become her voice. I had to become her champion. Mm-hmm. And so in doing so, I found my own voice. And I had to kind of be fearless as I'm talking to these doctors and therapists and teachers and everyone surrounding her care. Mm-hmm. And so in doing that, I wanted to make sure that other families hopefully don't go through the things that I went through as I was learning to take care of her. And then subsequently, my youngest son is special needs as well. So I want to teach families how to thrive and how to rise, whether you have the disability or you're loving someone with a disability. So it chose me. This is what God had for me.
I get it. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced early on, which you kind of described already, but just you can reiterate for me?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was just isolation, judgment, people staring when I took my kids out, or when people don't understand, often they ignore. Mm-hmm. So like friends weren't calling because they didn't know what to say.
I get it.
Yeah, and I didn't really know. My kids have something that's rare, and I didn't find myself attached to any group. Autism is amazing, right? Mm-hmm. My kids didn't have autism.
Right.
And so I just I felt lonely a lot, depression, until I realized the journey is the same. You have good days, you have bad days, you have days where you want to choke out somebody. You have days where you're just excited. For instance, Christian, who is now 21, when he was born, they said he'd never lift his head. The doctor knows, right? So I said, but then he did. And I was like, oh, let me stop listening. You know, they have to say what they have to say. But at 17, he sat up on his own. And so most people are like, okay, he's sitting up. I'm like, you don't understand. That's a whole blessing that just happened. So I want people to understand. Sometimes we don't know what to say. I say, what do you need? I don't know. Just do something. Sometimes you just want somebody to sit on the sofa with you, watch TV, just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be anything extraordinary. You don't have to have some special skill. You just have to have the heart to care. So those are some of the things.
I get it. Was there a moment when you realized you were on the right path as far as putting more time and effort and putting your all into, raising your children with these special needs?
Yeah. From the beginning with Paige, like I said, she's 13 months. She went from being this healthy, vibrant toddler to needing my care for everything. And I made the decision to come out of corporate and completely take care of her. And I would just see, every appointment the doctor would be like, oh, she looks so good. I'm like, well, how else is she supposed to look? But over time, I realized that wasn't always the case. And I realized that I was falling in love with the duties that I had, because this is my child. And it's hard, and it's emotional. It's crazy. The emotional roller coaster is all over the place. But to see her healthy, to go a certain period of time without her being in hospital, I'm like, okay, I can do this. Mm-hmm. And the first time I challenged the doctor, and doctors don't like that.
No.
But one doctor, she had scoliosis, and the doctor recommended a back surgery.
Scoliosis is
it's the curvature of the spine. Right.
Yeah.
And I said, well, oh, no, we're not going to do that. And he was like, wait, but, we can straighten it. We can do this. I said, so Paige just laid there. She had no movement. Mm-hmm. And I said, so you want me to put her through this painful, hard to recover from? He was like, yeah, but we could, and then we can. And I said, so let me ask you, do you have children? And thank God he did.
Right.
And I said, so if your child presented the way she's presenting right now, would you really put your child through that?
Right.
And I saw it click in him. He goes, I wouldn't.
Right.
I said, I need you to have that mindset as you're talking to other families, because we're relying on you and your expertise. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we'll make a decision based upon what you say, and then we're regretting. We have to live with the regret as you go on to the next patient. So that's when I was like, okay, when do you have to use your voice? You have to trust your gut. That sometimes if the doctor says something and you don't agree with it, make them explain it more, or just say no, because at the end of the day, you need me to sign this piece of paper.
I get it.
And I'm not going to do it. So that's when I kind of realized I can do this.
Yeah. They don't have the last say so anyway. God
does.
Right.
Don't get me started on that one.
What advice would you give someone just starting out, as far as, just bringing awareness and giving advice, to, people with special needs and this, that, and the third? What advice would you give them?
To use your voice. Everyone has a story, mm-hmm. and we tend to keep it to ourselves because, we don't know how someone's going to receive it.
Which is true.
It's not your business how they receive it. You have to put it out there. As I started talking about my kids, my journey, we used to do a weekly Wednesdays with Wendy. It was really Christian, but mm-hmm. I put my name on it. And people would say, oh, I'm like, no one wants to hear this. But God told me to do this, so I'm going to do it.
I agree.
And every time I went to quit, and we would just go on, like makeup, no makeup, Christian would decide he had a diaper situation in the middle of me talking. It was just real, being real. Mm-hmm. And every time I thought about quitting, somebody would send me a text or a messenger, like, man, that really helped me. I sent this to a friend of mine, and they said that helped them. So oftentimes we don't tell our stories because of us. But when you start looking outward as far as the journey you've been through, good or bad, it's going to help someone. And so we did it for 3 years. But tell your story. Look, good, bad, and different. You have to tell your story.
I totally agree. Couldn't be more true.
Yeah.
Personal insight. Who or what has been your biggest influence?
God first. I call it white knuckling God. When I'm going through things, when Paige was diagnosed, when she passed, when we realized we're having a third child, and this child is special needs as well, I white knuckle God, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I do not. I didn't babysit growing up. I wasn't that one. You didn't want to call me to babysit because I had other things. So I didn't know, but God first, and then Paige. Paige she didn't speak, she didn't move. She needed help with every single aspect of her life. But in her quietness, I felt a strength. They said she wouldn't live past 2 or 3, and she lived to 15.
Wow.
And I would feel the strength in her, and I would feel like the fight. And I gave her permission. I said, whenever you feel it's time to go when you're tired, it's okay, because I know where you're going. But honey, when you want to come home with me, every time I got you. But it was her. She forced me to find the strength that I always had, but I didn't give myself credit for having.
I won't put more on you than you can handle.
Yeah.
Exactly. How do you handle setbacks and failures? Looks like you do pretty well with them, though.
The looks can be deceiving. I give myself grace. I am the hardest person on me that anyone else can be. And there's so much that I want to do, and you fail. That's what life is about. But I give myself grace. I tell myself what I tell other people. Give yourself grace. This is a moment. Don't hold on to it. Like some people are like, in 1994, this happened. It's over. And there's nothing you can do to change that. Let's work on what's happening today.
Exactly.
And so I will have, like yesterday, Christian was home from school, and I was just like, what am I going to do? You're going to deal with it, and it's going to be fine. And it may not work out the way the plan is, because we like to make plans, and it has to go according to our plan. But if you learn to be more fluid with the plans, it often works out the way it's supposed to anyway. And I survived yesterday.
Another day. Right?
Another day, yeah.
Okay. What is a piece of advice you've received that changed your perspective?
I had Christian, my youngest, had a therapist. And at this point, I'm single. I got these 3 kids. Mm-hmm. And Paige's schedule started at 0:30, and Christians would go into the middle of the night, and then Matthew wants to watch a movie.
Okay.
So I'm burning the candle at both ends and in the middle.
Okay.
And his therapist, she kept saying, do you have help? I was like, no. She goes, I have somebody. I'm like, okay, you know how we do. Like, okay, whatever.
Right.
And one day, she looked at me, she goes, you look haggard. And so my inner spirit was like, did she just call me? Maybe there's a secondary definition, but that's bad, right?
Right.
And she goes, I'm going to have her call you. And I said, listen to what she's saying. She said it with love. And from that point on, I've always had help. Ask for the help. Okay. Even if you don't know what that help is. Okay. If you ask, the more I tell people, I will tell a podiatrist I'm looking for a hairstylist. Like, you just never know who knows what. So from that point, I said, let me start asking people, I need help doing this. We were in Florida a few years ago. We're looking for a sitter. And this woman walks up to us. It was a business thing during the break. She goes, I think I know somebody. I said, honey, we don't live in Florida. And I said, and you live in Jersey. Right. We in Illinois. Right. She goes, no, I have a friend in Illinois who's a nanny. Okay. I'm going to have her call you. Had I not opened my mouth thinking we're in Florida, this is not the place to ask, we would have never had a help. We wouldn't have found this sitter. Exactly. So that's what I mean. Always be open about what you need. Yeah. There's no shame in that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, enough of the serious questions. I want to ask you, A more funny, off the beat type question.
Uh-oh.
If you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Definitely Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou.
I love her. I
her
love
too.
her journey, the voice that she found, and the way she used it. Definitely Maya. Michelle Obama. You know, she a South Side Chicago girl, like, and then she's where she is. Like, I want to kick it with her for a little bit and glean some knowledge from her.
I'd like to pick her lock too.
Yeah, and then the last one would be my daughter Paige.
Oh, yes.
I would love to be able to have a conversation with her, hug her again, and just know I know she's okay, but just to be able to have that time with her again, she would be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's your go-to hype song before a big moment?
See, y'all trying to make me age myself, but I'm gonna go on and be transparent. There's a group from back in I think it's the 70s called D-Train. Have you heard of them?
I heard of D-Train.
See, one person. I appreciate you for that. But they have a song called "Keep On." Keep on stepping till you reach higher ground.
Okay.
Don't let nobody turn you around.
I'm gonna have to
step on up. You can clear the highest goal. Listen to, and it has a dope beat.
Okay.
Y'all, you gonna look it up?
I'm gonna look it
up. It's a good song.
I'm definitely gonna look it up.
And through the years, I have a whole playlist of positive songs, but I listen to it daily.
Oh well, it's a good one.
Yeah, I appreciate one person knowing.
Yeah. Plenty of nights with my mama listening to all type of old school.
Yeah, D-Train. And I don't know any other song by them, but that song is...
I'm sure I know it. I just can't think of it off the top of my head.
Put it on your playlist. It's a good song.
Okay. If you weren't doing this, so busy, tied up, with raising your family and bringing awareness, what else would you be doing instead?
I would be singing and dancing.
Oh, yeah? You
Yes.
blow a little bit?
See, I knew you was going to do that. I've always been a creative growing up. Okay. I love to dance. I love to sing. We grew up poor though, so I couldn't afford the dance lessons and I was too shy to sing in front of anyone. So I honestly just started singing a few years ago with my husband's encouragement.
What genre?
Anything.
Anything?
Like, I'm going to sing about the Lord.
Okay.
That's number one. But I just love all music. Sade.
That's my girl.
A little Anita, depending on what note she
want
to hit. Yeah, but I love singing. It's a way to express that comes from deep inside. Yeah, and the same thing with dance.
Do you have like a singing coach, or
I don't?
You just freestyling?
No. So for now, I don't have the desire to just become a singer.
Okay.
But I sing around the house. I sing to my kids.
Okay.
My oldest son, Matthew, has an amazing singing voice. So I'm going to take credit for that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to get it from somewhere.
Yeah. My dad had a great voice. And we were always surrounded by music, like he was saying. We always had music going. So I have a love of music. I wanted to play the guitar, which is funny because I married a guitar player. But again, we didn't have the money. And I just figured it wasn't meant to be.
Never too late.
No, I'm good. I feel like it.
So, what's next for you? What's any new projects coming up?
Yes.
Events? Tell us about it.
I have a lot. My husband and I just released a book that we co-wrote called The Power of Self-Love for Women.
Okay.
It's more so the journey that I went through, learning to love who I am.
Okay.
You always look at other people like, I wish I could be like that. It took a long time for me to look in the mirror, do my inner reflection, and love the person that I am. And I think a lot of women have challenges with that. The Page Awards this is our annual event, our signature event of the year for the You Belong Foundation, where we celebrate people with disabilities, people who have disabilities rocking out this life, and people who help. Like I said, we have the doctors and therapists, a lot of good people in the community helping for people to have great lives. So this is our 8th year.
I know. I was there. It was a nice
So
event.
no pressure, but I'm expecting you to be there.
I will be there.
And then next year we want you to be celebrated. So
Okay.
so do you have that on tape that you said okay?
I'm
Because
sure he does. We might edit it out.
no, no, you know what? It's important about people saying yes, because I often get no. It's because you're doing something, you're overcoming something most of us can't understand.
Yeah.
You're moving through life in a space that most people don't understand, and you're doing it with a smile. You're always positive. You always have a smile on your face.
I try.
And no, you're not trying, you're doing. But then there's someone in the audience who's going to hear your story. Like I said, having your voice, they're going to hear your story, hear what you're doing with the podcast and everything. You're having a full life. They're going to be encouraged by it.
Definitely.
So don't edit that out. I'm going to be looking for it.
All right.
You say yes. 2026, we're celebrating you.
All right. Tell us a little bit more where our audience can follow you and support you, and like your Instagram, social media, or any of that.
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn is the You Belong Foundation.
Okay.
The website is you got to put the youbelongfoundation.org. And there you'll see the events that we're coming up with, the things that the initiatives. Like we have big goals. We have some big goals. We want to change how you are able to access the world.
Okay.
You shouldn't have any problems accessing stuff. And I'm that person.
Okay. Any last words of wisdom for the audience?
Just tell your story. It's so important. We're embarrassed. None of us are perfect. And often we're embarrassed. I'm the only one in my family with someone with a disability, and I had two.
Okay.
So I didn't know. I didn't talk to my mom, my sister, because they don't understand. But the more you think about that journey, we all have highs and lows. We all have struggles.
Mm-hmm.
But people like you and people like the people we celebrate, I draw strength because this is the strongest community, period.
Mm-hmm.
It transcends racial lines, religion, economic. There's someone disabled everywhere. And just to see you, when I see you through the neighborhood with a dog, I'm like, I don't have no complaints. But draw from what you see other people instead of ignoring or asking stupid questions like, what's wrong? There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are amazing.
No, thank you.
You have something that you've gone through that I want to learn about. And if you're open, yeah, let's talk about it. But start talking to people. Find out their story. Tell yours.
I'm trying to open up more, so.
You're going to open up because you didn't messed up.
I started with you.
We're going to get you open, and you're going to be on my show as well. The Wendy Life. Wendy, and life is LYFE, because you got to be extra. We'll
definitely post that with the clip tagged along to the podcast. But that's in conclusion of No Lion, No Bull. I'm going to do something different today because it's my birthday, which I usually don't do. I'm going to come from behind the camera. I'm going to come show my face and give my friend a hug.
Yes, happy birthday. Thank you for having me.
Shout out to her for bringing awareness to disability. And that's a wrap. Peace.